Welcome back to HQ, presented by Penske. It is rivalry week in college football. The SEC on CBS Game of the Week, the Iron Bowl, Bama versus Auburn. Is it 2021 or is it 2023? Because if you're looking at Auburn's last trip to Jordan-Hare, it is kind of repeating itself. Alabama and Auburn's records the exact same heading into the matchup. Alabama winning that one in 4 overtimes. And of course, Alabama beating Georgia then in the SEC championship game. Still to be determined what is going to happen at the Iron Bowl. And of course, that highly anticipated SEC championship game with Bama and Georgia. But the Iron Bowl, it is the SEC on CBS Game of the Week. It's at 3:30 Eastern on Saturday. Gary Danielson joining us now, who will be on the call. Gary, Nick Saban and Hugh Freeze, they know each other well. They're on opposite sides of the Iron Bowl, and Freeze knows a thing or two about beating Saban. He did it twice when he was the head coach at Ole Miss. Bama, they are double-digit favorites in this matchup. But what are the chances you think Hugh Freeze can make this Auburn team keep it competitive?
Yeah, so I think you're right. You know, showing that 2021, I mean, come on, right? I mean, we're right where we were before. I think that this is a football team that believes that they've got the right coach, the right setting. I think they're really disappointed, Auburn is, that they didn't roll into this game after winning 3 in a row, making it 4 in a row. Obviously, they were looking ahead. But, you know, as Nick Saban takes on this game with Hugh Freeze, remember, Nick was going to hire Hugh Freeze. If the Liberty thing had just broken a little bit differently, he could have been his offensive coordinator. I know there's respect that goes both ways. Hugh's had success against them. Auburn's has had success against them. So it's set up pretty well. Let's put it this way. I'll take the 2021 football game in a glance or over again, because that was a lot of fun. Bryce Young bringing them back and the overtimes, everything about that football game. But special things happen when they play at Jordan-Hare. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, the Iron Bowl, there's so much history, and it is always a dogfight. And you mentioned Auburn, of course, wanting to come into this game on a win streak. They lost to New Mexico State. Kudos to New Mexico State for getting that win. But Auburn, they have struggled on offense. They can run the ball, Gary, and ironically, Bama is pretty good at stopping the run. So when you think about all of that, who has the edge here? Well, I think Alabama has an edge in most areas, except for the fact that it is a rivalry game and it's going to be played at home. But I think you've nailed it. I mean, Auburn can't have this being a, one-arm fight. They need both the running game and the passing game. They need to keep this Alabama defense off balance. When Auburn plays the best, though, Jacquez Hunter, their running back, he's an excellent running back. He keeps that any defense honest. And if he can keep Alabama from kind of staying back, playing soft, playing that box real light, meaning not a lot of guys near the line of scrimmage defensively, that gives Auburn an opportunity to do what they want to do. That's the guy right there that needs to play well. He needs to be a threat the whole game, because then Hugh Freeze can get his tempo game going. And Peyton Thorne, when he's got a little help with the running game, he seems to be a pretty efficient quarterback. Flip it around, there's a lot of problems stopping this new Alabama version. The team we saw early is not the team we're seeing late in this football season. They're as improved as any team in college football. Yeah, let's talk about this new version of Bama, right? It's certainly not the Bama that we saw lose to Texas. They've won 9 straight. Jalen Milroe has 24 total touchdowns in that winning streak. Can you just talk about his progression and what you've seen from him from week 1 all the way to now? Yeah, what's really cool about this is I really think Jalen won over this football team in that South Alabama game that he wasn't on. He handled it like a man. He continued to try to improve. He did get another shot, and he was ready for it. So if you're on that team, how can you not look at your leader and say, you know what, if he can take it and he can take tough coaching and he can improve, I think everybody else on their team kind of looks in the mirror and says, we can do the same. It's been a tremendous football season for Alabama, but I think it's all Jalen Milroe. And I think he was right to say, don't pigeonhole me as a quarterback. I want to be a passer. I want to be a leader. I want to be the guy that goes up to the microphone after the game when things don't work out and takes a leadership position and say, I didn't play well enough. And then when he does play great, say, it wasn't me, it was the guys around me. I think we're seeing leadership at a really high level here. And as he's become a better leader and more comfortable, he's earned the trust of his coaching staff. And I think he and Tommy Rees, I mean, they've really hit it off. And, you know, if it's not Mike Bobo, I would say Tommy Rees has done as good a job of coaching that we've seen all in college football this year, the way this offense has improved for Alabama. And, of course, anything can happen in a football game, but Alabama now is a threat for another national championship.
Yep, there is a path for Bama to get to the CFP. They're ranked 8th in the latest CFP rankings, of course.
Right.
They got to beat Auburn. They got to beat UGA in the SEC championship game. But if they do want to get to the playoffs, starting with this Auburn game, Gary, do they need style points? Do they need to make a huge statement in this game to the committee?
It's a good question. I think obviously a win is most important, but I think everything matters, right? I mean, as the committee is picking apart, you know, Texas not winning by enough. Washington for a while was, they're winning, but they're not winning, you know, good enough. I think everything matters when the committee gets together, especially if you've lost the game and you're sitting at 8 where Alabama is. You're going, I think we have to leave the committee with no doubt about how we're playing at the end of the season so that it gets there and they win this game. There's going to be, at the end, a beauty contest. Decisions are going to be made. And out there, Texas is sitting, a team that beat them at their place. So if I was Alabama, yes, we got to win. And I think the thing that they have going for them is being the champion of the SEC, being from the conference that has won 13 out of the last 17 championships or something like that. It's a pretty good record. I think they're going to hoist that flag and say, who's better than us? We're the champion of the best conference. We've won the most conferences. But Texas is going to say, we beat you. So if I was Alabama, I'd say everything matters in this game. Beating Georgia obviously is a must, but isn't that kind of the fun of college football? It's an opinion sport, and this might be one of the best, most opinionated Final Four that we've seen in a long time.
Oh, it is always fun this time of the year to go from, hey, what if Bama beats Georgia, but then Texas is there and they beat Bama, all the chaos scenarios. Gary Danielson getting us ready for the Iron Bowl. That is at 3:30 on CBS. Enjoy the game, Gary. We appreciate it. Of course, Bama and Auburn, Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on CBS. And, of course, you can stream that on Paramount Plus as well.